Hi guys, so I'm back with another book unhaul video. I've done a couple fairly recently. If you haven't noticed, I have a brand new bookshelf behind me, and sort of it prompted with the books that I've been getting rid of. I've been wanting a new bookshelf for ages. I wanted to replace the one that was there because it was only like a single road bookshelf and it was quite old and it was bowing. I thought it was only a matter of time before one of the shelves completely caved in. So I've been looking to get a new shelf for ages, and then with the books that I've been getting rid of, it really motivated me. I was like, right, I really want to have a shuffle around, I really want to move some books around, I really want to have a new shelf, so I can play around with my books, play around with what books are where. So yeah, as I'm recording this, Shay helped me yesterday to dismantle the old one and put the new one up. I think we did it in pretty good time, and yeah, I was just so pleased to have a new shelf, and I love that it's the same shelf as this one, so all the shelves match. So yeah, it really makes me happy, and like I say, because it's an extra wide one, it has the capacity to hold 2 rows of books instead of just the one. So even though it's great because I've got more bookshelf space, I am still trying to cut down on you know, I don't want piles of books everywhere, which is what was happening. My goal is to sort of just have the shelves, and I want to have them filled with books that I either love or really want to read. I don't want to be holding on to books that I am not interested in, because in the long run, what is the point? So that brings us onto the book unhaul section. And I think there's about 22 books here, somewhere around that figure. And there may be more book unhauls in the future, I'm not sure. I've tried to, you know, it makes it sound awful, like I've tried to be really ruthless and get rid of these books. I think I've mainly tried to be realistic in the books that I am wanting to keep and wanting to read. So without further ado, the books that I'm getting rid of, Glimmer by Beth Carey. This is sort of a, I think like a erotic sort of, I think it's like a 50 Shades of Grey type, one of those kind of books, but it's one that I'm not likely to pick up. I've kind of moved away from that kind of thing, so I'm unlikely to pick that up. So next up is Witchstruck and Witchful by Victoria Lamb. These are sort of YA paranormal books, and in the whole time that I have had them, I have never once picked them up. And I say I'm quite sad about that, but I don't know why I've never gone to pick them up. Witch books have never been sort of my favourite. I don't know if that's something to do with it, but I will be passing these along. I've got very little room to move at the moment where I'm in the middle of sorting things out. There's just stuff everywhere. Deep Blue Eternity by Natasha Boyd. Just never gone to pick this one up. I think it's sort of a contemporary type romance, but again, never been tempted to pick it up. Purity by Jackson Pearce. Again, I've had this on my shelf for ages and ages and ages, and Jackson Pearce seems to be an author, I don't know if she has, but to me anyway, she seems to have fallen off the face of the earth. I used to watch her YouTube channel, and yeah, but even when I read her Sisters Red book, didn't really love it, and I'm not likely to pick that one up. Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. I think, did I get rid of my Hush Hush books? I'm not sure if I did or not, but I wasn't a huge fan. I read them, the Hush Hush series, and they were okay. I'm unlikely to pick this one up, however. Then I have A Stitch in Time by Amanda James. I think this is sort of a strange time travel novel, kind of a contemporary romance, adult contemporary romance, but I think it's about a stranger turning up at this woman's door and wanting her to go back in time with him. Unlikely to pick it up. Then I have To Turn Full Circle by Linda Mitchell-Moore. This is one I actually have read, and I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was just kind of okay for me. so I will be passing it on for that reason. It's kind of a historical romance. Then I have Just One Year and Just One Day by Gail Forman. Just don't think I will ever realistically read these. I have at the moment still got If I Stay and Where She Went. I haven't read those, and I'm umming and ahhing whether to part with those because I haven't picked them up, but I just don't think that I will read those. Then I have kind of 3 books in a series, and the Stravaganza series by Mary Hoffman. So I have City of Swords, City of Flowers, and City of Masks. This is sort of a historical series, one that I have not picked up, but I think if I were to start this, I would like to have it on my Kindle and not have the physical books of this. So I'm going to part with that. Also going to part with Secrets and Sapphires by Leela Rashid. I think this is kind of like a historical version of like Gossip Girl or 90210, like that kind of thing. And yeah, not for me. Scarlet by A.C. Gowan. This is a retelling of Robin Hood. I have had this on my shelf since it came out, and I've been umming and ahhing whether to part with this one. And I think from the sheer fact that in my last couple of book hauls I've been eyeing up whether to part with it, and I've still not been tempted to pick it up, even though I'm like, do I want to part with it, do I not? So I think that's told me that I'm going to part with it. Relentless by Cassia Leo, sort of a new adult novel. I just don't think this author is for me, to be honest. So I'm going to part with that one. I have The Hollow by Jessica Verde. This is, I think, the first book in her series. I quite like that. I think it's set around Sleepy Hollow. But this is, I only have this book, and I think if I was to start this series I would have it on my Kindle, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to part with that. Then I have Paranormalcy by Kirsten White, which surprises me. I have thought about getting rid of this book for ages and ages, and I've always held off because of how popular it is. Everyone loves this book and this series, and I bought it because there was a lot of hype around it at the time. And when I started to try and read it, I could not get into it for love nor money. And I've kept it, always thinking, you know, I'll go back to it and I'll go back to it. And I never have, and it kind of pains me to part with this because of how popular it is. And yeah, I'm just kind of annoyed that I didn't love it enough to stick at it. And yeah, but I've decided, you know, it obviously wasn't for me, time to part with it. And for the exact same reason, I'm going to part with Across the Universe by Beth Revis. Literally so many people on BookTube love this. Like, when it came out, everyone was talking about it. There was so much hype about it. It was crazy. And I started to read it. I got a good few pages in, and I was just bored out of my goddamn mind. And I was just like, normally I'm very understanding. I'm like, you know, books have to get going, you have to hit the stride. But I just couldn't stick with this one. And I always thought I would go back to it, but I never have. And it really pains me to part with these two because, you know, they're such popular books, you know, and I always thought, like, I'll love them. And I just didn't, and that kind of annoys me. I know that sounds irrational, but it really annoys me. So I'm going to get rid of Hour of the Bees by Lindsay Edgar. This is just one that I've never been tempted to pick up, so I'm going to part with that one. High Risk by Simona Arnstead. This is one that I received fairly recently. I've tried to sort of get into it. I just don't think it's for me. So I'm going to pass it on to someone that will enjoy it. And then I'm also... oh, now I don't know. I was going to get rid of this one, but I've seen now that it's part of her Ladies of Lantern Street, and I think I've got the first book in that novel and that series, and I really liked it, so I think I might actually keep this one. I'm also going to part with this. It's only like a little pamphlet thing. It's like a little sampler. of the Weekend by Rhiannon Bird. I'm going to part with that as well. So that's all the books that I am unhauling this time, guys. Look at my hair. Like, it's just so frizzy. Like, what is it doing? I hate it when it's like this. Anyway, that's not even relevant. So yeah, that's all the books that I'm unhauling this time, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Happy reading.